Want to know the secret to getting kids to actually remember the Bible verse without endless repetition or boring flashcards? What if I told you that there's a simple key that enables me to teach 5 memory verses in 5 days that kids remember for years? Not kidding. I literally have kids quote me verses that we taught a year ago. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can turn Bible verse memorization into something the kids actually remember. If you're a children's minister or a VBS coordinator or anyone working with kids in church, you know that teaching Bible verses can sometimes feel like pulling teeth or just plain hard to do, right? Well, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be so hard, and it doesn't have to be boring. In this video, I'm going to share some easy, fun, and effective ways to help kids remember Bible verses. And trust me, it's easier than you think. Plus, I will reveal the method that I use now that makes Bible memorization a total game changer. Now let's get into it. In the past, I've tried a lot of methods to help kids memorize Bible verses. You've probably used these too. Repetition, saying the verse over and over and over again. Now, sometimes it works, but it can get boring. I think repetition is a great tool for some things, but for memory verses, it ends up being like, well, let's say the verse again for the 72nd time, and hopefully you'll get it. It's kind of like trying to move a boulder by pushing it. Yeah, it may work, but it's hard and slow. Then there are games like Erase a Word. This is a great classroom game. You write the verse on a whiteboard and then erase one word at a time on the board and have the kids say the verse without that word you erased. It helps with memory, but it's a little hard and slow. The amount of times you need to repeat the verse to have it in your memory is a lot more than the amount of times you can play that game and it still be fun. Then there are verses with hand motions. This is moving in the right direction because if the kids forget a word, then at least you can do the hand motion to help them remember the word without just giving it away. But this usually falls short with longer verses, and for myself personally, I find hand motions often confuse me and they don't help. I'm not saying these methods don't work. They actually do. But let's be honest, they're not really effective. Kids get distracted, they forget, and it can feel like we're forcing them to learn instead of actually engaging them with the verse. But here's the good news. I no longer use any of those old methods. And you want to know why? Because I found something better, and it's a total game changer for us. Now, some of our most memorable verses are the longest ones, and the kids can't help but memorize them. I do not teach memory verses without this method. Instead of relying solely on repetition or verse cards, we started using songs to teach Bible verses. Yep, you heard right, songs. Now, before you say, well, I don't do songs, let me be clear, I don't do songs either. I am not really a musical person, but I've discovered that using songs for memory verses is so effective, it doesn't really matter. How did you learn the ABCs? That's 26 random facts in order. We learned it with a song. What about the excuse, well, oh, my kids don't like songs? Well, if I get the song stuck in their head, it doesn't matter if they like it either. But I do have some tips for that I'll tell you at the end of the video. With songs, kids remember the verse word for word, and a song is much more engaging and doesn't need to be repeated 73 times before it's remembered. Okay, so how do you actually do this? It's simple. Here's a step-by-step process for using songs to teach Bible verses. Step 1, pick a verse. Start with a short, simple verse for your first one. Verses don't have to be simple to use this method, but it makes it easier on you to start if you pick an easy one. For a demo, I'll use John 20:31. Step 2, choose or create a song. You can find tons of great Bible verse songs online. Just do a YouTube search for your specific verse. Or, I actually prefer to create one. You could create a whole new tune, but I prefer to borrow an already catchy tune. The goal is to make the verse catchy, and if a tune is already catchy, then let's use that tune. Let me show you what I came up with for John 20:31, and see if you recognize the tune. But these are written, that you may believe, that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name. John 20:31. Like I said, I'm not really a singer, but could you recognize the tune? Yeah, it's based on the tune of I Am a Sea. This has been one of the most catchy songs that the kids will just spontaneously start singing. Now, when you're preparing your tune, be careful not to stretch the verse to fit into a tune. If it sounds like the verse doesn't fit well with the melody of the song, then it'll be harder to teach. Come up with a couple of options and write them down. Then sing them, and then wait for a little bit. Which one sticks best for you? After some time has passed, which one do you remember? Once you've got the verse and the tune, it's time to teach it. But before we teach the verse, let me tell you about Quick Start. If you're looking to take your children's ministry and VBS planning to the next level, then I've got something that'll really help you out. I've put together a Quick Start course that walks you through the entire process of planning and running an effective VBS event, including how to integrate techniques like this. In the course, I'll dive into each of the roles involved, including the memory verse leader. If you want to make a real impact with your VBS or Sunday school, this course will give you all the tools you need to succeed. Check out the Quick Start training course link in the description to get started. Step 3. Teach the verse with the song. Teach the verse line by line with the tune, and have the kids repeat each line. You could use instruments, but I prefer not to. It can be a distraction. As they hear it repeated, their brains will start to connect the words with the melody, and then it'll stick. You could even incorporate some hand motions or actions to make it more fun and engaging. Just don't overcomplicate it. Step 4, sing it often. Don't just sing it once. The more they sing the song, the more they'll remember it. So don't be afraid to repeat the verse throughout the day or the week. I tell my team leaders to sing the verse whenever their kids are going from one station to the next station. And then each day, we review the previous verses before starting a new one. And that's it for the steps to teaching a Bible verse with music. But in the next video, I'll share some extra tips for making this technique even more effective, including what to do if the kids are too cool for this. Be sure to check it out so you can level up your verse teaching game. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more helpful tips.